Hi everyone, Lindsay here. So I wanted to jump on here because I am about to release my second summer novel. So it would be book 4 for me. I can't believe how fast I've already gotten here because I'm already working on book 6 and it just goes so fast. I'm really excited about this. Well, I think I say that with all my books because I just love all the characters that I develop, which is a good thing. I mean, us writers have to love what we're writing, right? Especially because we have to read the manuscript at least 70 times during the editing process, so you better love what you're writing. Anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about this upcoming release, where it all began. It's coming out May 27th. It's going to be on pre-sale and cover reveal on May 13th. So definitely stay tuned for that. But as I'm going through the proofreading, I pulled up some notes because one of the editors had asked a question that it got me thinking. And did I agree with the suggestion or not? Maybe, maybe not. You'd have to read the story to really dive into whether or not I fully went with this suggestion. And it was the suggestion of having my main character, her name's Willow. She's a therapist. Having her sort of have to practice what she preaches to her clients in the scenario that she's going through in this book. Meaning, how could she have not known XYZ? Well, I took a step back, I made some notes, and now that the book is coming out, I wanted to share because a lot of us find ourselves in similar situations where we're reading a book and it could be a fiction, it could be a nonfiction, but especially with fiction where you pick up a book and you want to escape from the real world, you don't want to face anything, but then those books can still give you all the feels, which is the beauty about fiction. It's like you can break from what you're going through and feel with these characters and release emotions in sort of this safe little bubble. And when you're writing fiction, it's the same kind of release where you might have a lot of things going on, but you're stuck in your own little fictional world where you can have all these moments of triumph and struggle and all the things that you're writing with these characters, but it's not you. So it's sort of that in-between space. Well, for Willow as a therapist, now having to face a trauma that she went through in her past. So this story takes place in Martha's Vineyard. Absolutely love Martha's Vineyard. I mean, who doesn't? Even if you have never been there, you can only imagine. It's beautiful. And it's where she has to face something that she ran away from years and years beforehand. And some might say, well, and this was a really good point by the editor, shouldn't she know that hiding her feelings like that and not returning home for years is hiding? Of course she did. Does it mean she's perfect? No. My mom was a nurse for many, many years, and she always used to say to me, I would make the worst patient because it's just, I don't know, sometimes when we have to face something within our own career, it can be challenging, even more so because you're battling that too. Like, I should know better. I think that happens with any career or anything that you're going through. It's like me learning as I'm going through the editing process with each book and I see a similar mistake. I'm like, oh, I should have known better. Well, we're not perfect. And that's the point I'm trying to make here, that you don't have to be perfect. Even if you're like Willow, perhaps you're a therapist yourself, and then you go through something hard. No, you're not supposed to go through it perfectly. And there's even a point at the end of the book where her friend says to her, stop playing therapist. Stop trying to be your own therapist and learn with what's in front of you. Face what's in front of you. So it gives her much more. So I wrote these bullet points down like during the first draft or during the first round of edits because I'm like, no, I'm keeping it for this purpose. And so I wanted to share before the book is released some of these key points. And even in my first summer book, Fly Away Summer, last summer, there was a lot of hiding as well with Lena. She was hiding deep in the throes of grief, even years and years later after losing her parents, losing her grandmother, losing her family's beloved inn that had been in the family for over 40 years and feeling like it's her fault and just hiding. It's sort of this natural response that a lot of us get. Now, is it good to stay there? No. But that's where Willow in this next book comes to terms with she's got to stop hiding. But after she goes through the entire process, facing something traumatic that happened to her in high school, and it's not just breaking up with her first love, there was something more that happened to her, but facing all that she had missed by not going home for 8 years. She missed the birth of her niece and nephew. She missed her brother, who went into flight school and opened up this helicopter touring business on the island and was really successful. She missed all this. She hadn't even flown with him yet at the beginning of the story. And not to mention all the holidays and everything in between. She missed so much. It was an overwhelming, like, oh my gosh, because now in the beginning of her story, there was another accident that forced her to go home. She couldn't hide from it anymore. So here she is going home and has to go through so much of an ex-fiance, a first love, seeing her home after so many years, her father fighting for his life in the hospital, and just so much. It's a lot. But when she comes out of it, she has so much more self-awareness, so much more personal growth. So now she's facing panic attacks for the first time, actually experiencing them. And think about it. Now she can turn around when she sees her clients again, and she can counsel them in a whole new way and be able to sort of fine tune how she handles each and every client who might be experiencing anxiety or something similar. She develops new coping mechanisms instead of the same, repeated stuff that she might have been saying before, because she's developed different coping mechanisms in a way that she can now translate it into her sessions. She finds a new way to counsel her clients, bringing in horse therapy, because she just loves those horses, and going home reignited her love for horses, even though horses, I can't even talk today, was something that she had pulled herself away from because of what happened in that tragedy in high school, which you will read in the beginning, in the prologue, actually. It's a very intense prologue, the most intense prologue I've ever written so far. So it increases her own resilience, her communication skills, just all of the things that you learn. I could imagine learning in school as a therapist, but then when you go through it yourself, it just kind of heightens it up. So I want to ask you, while you're reading fiction, do you ever get triggered? Do you ever get triggered with something that the character is going through, thinking to yourself, I should know better with something like that. I've gone through something similar, and there's no shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? So I want you to always take a step back, and instead of with the I shoulds, what would I do differently moving forward? Or how am I learning from this story? And applying it to your own life. Yes, it's great to have that fiction break, but then when you close the book and it's time to go back into the real world, something that I don't like to do when I shut my laptop and I'm done writing, but we have to. How could we approach it differently? So that's the beauty of fiction, that it gives you that break, that moment to kind of think, and then be able to turn it around and say, okay, let's take this character. It's like watching a really, really powerful movie, and you walk out of the movie theater, or you turn off the TV and you're like, whoa, this is wonderful. How could I apply this to it gives you that motivation and that inspiration that sometimes we need. And so fiction books can do the same thing. So yeah, I kept her in a learning stance. She's not perfect. None of my characters are ever going to be perfect. And that's the takeaway, the biggest takeaway that I want to give you when it comes to this next release. So let me know what you guys think with everything that I've talked about. And then later on, when Where It All Began comes out. Bye.